Hello everyone, welcome back to the session. So in the previous session we have seen about the what is a use case. So how to draw a use case diagram for an activity or for an product development. So this is all depends upon these use cases. These diagrams are always depends upon the requirements. Okay, according to the requirements, how we have to proceed. So according to the requirements, we have to design the system. Okay. So, first in previous session we have seen the last topic is the scenario based elements. Okay. So in scenario based elements, how the use case is held. So let us go further. How to refine the use case elements. So how to refining a preliminary use case. So we said that in order to draw. So in order to after taking the requirements. So in order to proceed furtherly, we have to go for the use case in scenario based. So if you see the different elements analysis of a requirement analysis for a model, so first one is a behavior model. So in that we use the use case. So we are seeing about that. So each step in the primary scenario is evaluated by asking the following questions. So in order to while drawing of a use case, so we have to answer some questions. What are those? So first one is, can the actor take some other action at this point? So actor, who is the actor? So who is withdrawing? Who is working with the? Who is interacting with the system? So if the ATM is for example, in this use case example, they have taken the ATM machine. So I am focusing on the ATM. Okay. So we have the user. So who is interacting with the system? The user will interact. Who having the debit card? Who want to take the transactions? Who want to interested in the transactions with the debit card through ATM? So they will interact. So when the actor takes some other action at this point. So while interacting with the system, while interacting with the ATM machine, so not only taking the cash. So after withdrawing cash, he was to do anything else. So whether he was to change the any a debit card PIN number, he wants to change any mobile number in the ATM itself. So that we have to think. The first question is that. And second one is it possible that the actor will encounter some error conditions at this point? If so, what might it be? So while the user is interacting with the system, what are the transactions, what are the action he was performing, what are the tasks he was performing with that system? So at that particular point, he was getting any error. So if the user has getting some error while working with the system, so what the action we have to take? So the developer has to think like that. Okay. So and next, is it possible? Third one is it possible that the actor will encounter some other behavior at this point? Some other behavior means whether he was going to cancel the transaction, or he was to move to some other, he was to give you any complaint regarding that. So whatever the action, if he faced any trouble while doing some transactions, if he faced some trouble while he was performing some task with that system, so what the user will behave. So what is the actor means user who is interacting with the system. How he will be behave. He will be behave. Not only he or she, whatever who is that. So the actor, how the behavior will be the actor. So if there such errors if it occurs. So if you people went to the ATM, so at that time ATM got after doing some transactions while withdrawing the cash. So you press the amount. So you have given the amount to the system. So just you have to wait for it to take the money. So at that time, if the system is given some error, the ATM has given some error, at that time what you people do? So like that you have to take. So here they have given one example. What is that behavior that is invoked by some event outside the actor's control? If so, what it might be? Okay. So next coming to. So in preliminary refining of that preliminary use cases, so while drawing of the use cases, whatever the actions we have to take, there are the steps. So apart from that, so Cockburn. So Cockburn was also one of the contributor of the software engineering. He recommends using a brainstorming session to derive a reasonably complete set of exceptions for each use case. So we have said that in the previous steps, while drawing up the use case, you have to think all these steps. Okay, so if any error is getting, if any exception is getting while doing something, so then Compound has given some suggestion, that is a brainstorming. So brainstorming session to derive a reasonably complete set of exceptions for each use case. So when the user is interacting with the system, what type of errors may come? So what type of system will have to face? What type of the errors the user will face? So there is have to take the some session. So what are the errors we get? We will draw in the use case diagram. Okay. So in addition to that, 3 generic questions suggested earlier in this section in the following issues should also be explored. So we have seen the 3 issues previously. So what are those? How we can do solve? How those issues we can be explored? We can see. So that is given by here. So first one is, are there cases in which some validation functions occurs during this use case? So validation functions. So while he was inserting the card, after inserting the card, what are the action the system has to do? So you have to validate. Okay. So while there are some cases in which validation functions occurs during this use case. So whether there is any validation cases means whatever the input we are giving, what is the output we are getting. So according to the input, if you are given the A plus B is equal to something output, so whether it is giving the same output or not, or it is giving some other output. So that is a validation. This implies that validation function is invoked and potential error condition might occur. So if the validation, so whatever that validation function is invoked, that means validation function is not working properly, whatever the output you want. For example, you have to get the output is 5. But after giving the input, if you are getting the 10, so there is some problem with the system. Okay. So then you have to provide some conditions over there. Are there cases in which, and next one is, are there cases in which a supporting function or actor will fail to respond appropriately? So when you are interacting with the ATM machine, so after inserting the card and after doing some transactions, so you just ask the ATM machine to give you some money, to draw some amount from your account. Okay, so you just given the amount and you just press the enter. So after that, what the system has to do, it has to give the whatever the amount you have given to the system, that amount it has to be given. So at that time, if the system has crashed, the software if it has some error, maybe the power cut or maybe some other error has occurred within the system. So if it is stopped the account, so the amount was debited from your account, but it is not getting from your ATM machine. From the ATM machine, where you are drawing the money. Okay. So at that time, how the user will respond? So whether the user respond correctly, so what the steps he will take. So if such errors are occur, so what the user will take, how he will respond to that. For example, a user action awaits response, but the function that is to be responded times out. So it will similar. So whatever the function you want to expect, that means you want to get some amount from your system. So if the system is crashed, so what it will say is, it will take all your inputs. That means it will take your PIN number, it will take the amount what you want to draw. But at the time of the money transaction, it will give timeout. So the transaction will not be happen. The transaction is failed. Like that, it will give some what we can say with that such messages. Okay, that is the example for this. So at that time, what the user will respond? How the user will respond to that? If you ask such questions, means you people say, we will go for the other idiom. Okay, not like that. So why here we see why the system is giving such type of errors. So how they have to remove. Okay, so in that case we are saying this. So next, can poor system performance result in unexpected or improper user actions? So poor system means if the system having some, we can say sometimes the system may crash. We can't say what is the problem. Maybe it is continuously using for 24 hours, then the system may get crash. Okay. So for this, the example here is A web-based interface responds to slowly, resulting in a user making multiple selects on a processing button. See, for example, now the Amazon or Flipkart, so they will give the some period. So from morning 9 to 9:20. So you have the option for the select of anything. So that will be get with a low price. Like that, it has given some offer to you. So what you people do? You just go on the, sit on the site and you will just click on the buttons. But it is not respond. Why? Because so many people at the same time they will work with that. So the server will be busy with that. So the response is what you are giving. It may not take it. So you're pressing the buttons. Buttons are nothing but just selecting the item. So selecting of an item, that is one button that will be here. So buy now, that is one button. Proceed to buy, that is one button. Okay. So like that. So you people are facing such problems. Okay, these select queues inappropriately and ultimately generate an error condition. So if you are continuously clicking on that, so but it is not responding because the server is busy at particular time. Or else if you see the Redmi site, so Redmi site they will give the some option. I mean, by this time, by 12 o'clock, this product is available in the site. So many of people are seated at that time. So many of people in the worldwide, nationwide or worldwide, they will go for that site. So many of the vendors also will interact with that. So because they want to buy this product with the low price. So but when you interacting with the system, that website, you just clicking on buy now option, but it will not respond. You will click on continuously. So that is the example here given. Okay. So that is a poor experience of the system. So that is a refinery of a use case. So in order to try a use case, you have to take the preliminary actions. So in the software development. Okay. So next one is writing a formal use case. So from this point onwards we will see. So in previous session I have drawn some use case diagram about the ADM mission. The same thing here will be explained. It will come. Okay. So we used a UML diagrams. I said unified modeling language. It has some of the diagrams like use case, activity, collaboration, sequence diagrams. So what are those diagrams? That it will come from here onwards. Okay. So listen carefully. So the typical outline for formal use cases can be in the following manner. So how to write the use case? Up to now we have seen. So in order to draw the use case, we have to you have to refine like this. So in order to do the use cases, you have to take the requirements like this. So you have to refine the what we can say requirements. Okay, up to now we have seen that. So now we are going for the how to write the use case. So how to draw the use case. Okay. So the goal in the context, identify the overall scope of the use case. So the main context is to identify the what is why we are using the use case. So what is the scope for the use case? And next point is the precondition describes what is known to be true before the use case is initiated. So what is what the preconditions? That means in order to draw the use case, what are the requirements you have taken? What are the preconditions it is applied? So what is known to be true? So while using the use case, so user is interacting with the ADM mission. Is that the true? Yes. System will not interact with the user. User will interact with the system. So like that the use case is initiated. Like that we have to take the some use cases. Okay. Use cases is nothing but oval shape. Whatever the oval shape I have represented, that is a use case. So whatever the exchanging of the information, that is a use case. Okay. And next point is the trigger identifies the event or condition that gets the use case started. So trigger. So trigger is nothing but the starting point. And next, the scenario lists the specific actions that are required by the actor and appropriate system responses. So what is the scenario? So why we are taking, we have to list all the specific actions. So while interacting with the system, so while interacting with the smart board, so what are the list of actions I have to do? So smart board means nothing but like a smart TV. Okay. So with smart TV you have the PC as well as Android. Like that you have different options. So while interacting with the system, what are the actions I have to do? So we have to take all the list of the specific actions that are required by the actor and appropriate system responses. So what the actor is interacting with the system. So for what purpose he is interacting, he or she, the actor is interacting with the system. So what is the response given by the system? So we have to write all the list in order to draw a use case. And next point is, exceptions identify the situations uncovered as the preliminary use case is refined. Additional headings may or may not be included and are reasonably self-explanatory. So, in order to write the use case, in order to draw the use case diagram, so if any situations where we have to identify the exceptions. So, what are the exceptions? For example, if you are interacting with this ATM machine, that is a one use case. Okay, in that use case, sometimes when the user is interacting with the ATM machine, he will do some actions without unknowingly. That means checking of the balance within the system without taking the slip. Okay, so like that. So if those actions, there are some exceptions which are not uncovered in the preliminary use case. In preliminary use case, we have said only whatever the errors we have to take. When the errors occur, what the user will respond. Like that only we have to take it. We take it. Okay. So if there is any use case which are not covered in the preliminary use case, then what we have to do? So additional headings may or may not be. So additional requirements, that means whatever the transactions that are done with the ATM machine, so we can write in the use case. There is no problem. So which are not covered in the preliminary use case also, we can be written in the use case diagram. Okay. And next point is, every modeling notation has limitations and the use cases is no exception. So whatever the models used, so we have the different models, scenario-based models. So we have seen in the previous session. What are the different requirement modelings? So scenario-based, behavioral, flow-oriented. Okay, whatever the model, every model has some limitations. It has some limitations. Yes, every system will have some limitations. Like that, every model will have some limitations, and the use case is no exception. But use cases must. Whatever the model you follow, whatever the process you are following, use cases must. So use case diagrams plays an important role in the development of the software. And next, a use case focuses on the functional and behavioral requirements and is generally inappropriate for non-functional requirements. So what are the use cases mainly focusing on? The use case is mainly focused on the functional requirements, functional and behavioral requirements. So, what function we are performing with the system? That means why we are, so after interacting with this ATM machine, what is the function we are doing? So we are interacting with this ATM machine for the function of withdraw of some money, or changing of the PIN number, or changing of the mobile number. Whatever the transactions, there are the functions and behavior. So how the user is interacting with the system, how often he or she, the actor is interacting with the system. When he was asking for some other transaction with the system, what the system is behaving, so how it is giving the response. Okay, and is generally inappropriate for non-functional requirements. There will be some non-functional. So charging for the ATM machine, that is a non-functional. Okay, like that. So those non-functional requirements are not required. So in the use case diagram, it mainly focusing on the only functional and behavioral of the system requirements, functional and behavioral requirements, not for the non-functional requirements. So we have to keep the charging for the ATM machine. We have to provide the AC conditions for the ATM machine. That is not necessary. Those are the non-functional. Okay. And next point is, however, scenario-based modeling is appropriate for a significant majority of all. So this scenario-based, so we are talking about the scenario-based. The topic in previous session, at last we stopped at the scenario-based modeling. Okay, this scenario-based modeling is appropriate for a significant majority of all. So scenario-based models is compulsory for every models. Compulsory. That means some may not require. It depends upon the product. So if you use the scenario-based model, so compulsory you have to use the use case. So that is a condition. And situations that you will encounter as a software engineer. So this scenario based modeling, what you do, so the situations will encounter for a software engineer. So this is a continuation of this step. This is not a, so this is the continuation over here. Okay, so this is the point. And next, see, this is the use case diagram. So what previously in previous session I explained the same. Okay, so actor, so here it is the actor. So actor may be a customer. Okay, we can call as a customer. So here, see, the lines that are drawn. So first one is ATM banking system. So we can draw this on a rectangular box. So this is a simple use case diagram. See, here simple use case diagram. So here, just first one is a withdraw money. So this oval shape we call as a use case. Okay, so this is a system boundary. See here headings are given. System boundary. So whatever the box, rectangular box you have drawn, so that is a system boundary. So the oval shape is called as a withdraw money. So three transactions, three use cases has given. One is the withdraw money, one is the deposit money, one is the check balance. So these are the three use cases. So, and this customer, when customer is interacting with the banking system, ATM banking system, first he will go for the withdraw money, or he will deposit money, or he will check the balance. So he can do the three transactions. So when the customer is interacting with the ATM machine, what are the things he can do? One is withdraw, one is deposit, and next one is a check the balance. So this is some symbolized diagram for the use case. Okay, so whatever the lines drawn from the actor to the use case, those are called as a association. So association. Okay, this is the sample diagram for the use case. So like the use case will be drawn. And next one is the UML models that supplement the use case. Okay, so I said that we have the UML. UML is nothing but the Unified Modeling Language. So Unified Modeling Language is used to draw the diagrams for the requirements whatever taken by the customer. Okay, so this is like a blueprint. So in order to build a system, build a building, so they will take some blueprint. That means they will take some draw. Okay, so first we have to go for the ground floor, then only we will go for the first floor. Like that, they will draw some lines. Okay, so how for the construction of a building, how they will process some diagram like that. This for software development, software product also they will go for the some modeling language, that is a unified modeling language. It has some type of diagrams. What are those? First one is class diagram. Of course, I have said to you, but once again I am remembering. First one is the class diagram, and second one is the use case diagram. Thirdly, activity diagram. So, and fourth one is state diagram. And fifth one is component diagram. And next one is deployment diagram. So these are the different diagrams. Of course, you will have the 9 diagrams. Out of that, these 6 are mainly used. Okay. So these are the 6 diagrams. So this, in between this use case is made first one. So use case is, we are talking about the use case. So up to now in scenario based modeling we will go for the use case. Okay. So apart from use case, what are the remaining diagrams we can use for the modeling? Okay, that is the topic we are seeing now. So UML models that supplement the use case. So after the use case, so in order to supplement the use case, not all, so some building of the system, some systems may not require the use cases. They have to go for the some other high levels. So for that, what the diagrams we may need. Okay. So developing an activity diagram. So after the so in order to go for the some other high diagrams, that is the first one is the activity diagram. So how to develop an activity diagram? So the UML activity diagram supplements the use case by providing a graphical representation of the flow of interaction within a specific scenario. So up to now we have seen the use case. What is the use case? Okay. So apart from that, what is the activity diagram? So the activity, the UML activity. UML is Unified Modeling Language. So activity diagram supplements the use case by providing a graphical representation of the flow of interaction. So in the use case, what we are taking, so each use case, that means each interaction we have given the one use case. Apart from that, we can provide a graphical representation of the flow of interaction. So in order to provide the graphical interaction, so how the graphical view will be. Okay, so in use case we have given this just like a flow chart. But in order to give some graphical representation, so what is the interaction is going on, so that is the activity diagram. So with a specific scenario, not the full programming, not the full of the system. It will give the only for specific scenarios. So whereas the use case will take for the whole system, but whereas the activity diagram is drawn for the only specific scenarios. Okay, that means scenarios means specific part. Similar to the flow chart, an activity diagram uses rounded rectangles to amplify a specific system function. So in the use case, we use the ovals as a use case. So in the activity diagram also, in flow chart, what are the things you consider? Rhombus, rectangle, circle shapes. So those are the things only we consider in the activity diagrams. So whatever the activity diagrams are given in the, whatever the diagrams we are seen in the Unified Modeling Language, they are like a flow charts only. Okay. So next coming to, and also arrows. So in order to flow from one point and from one shape to the another shape, they will use arrows to represent the flow through the system. So decision diamonds. So decision diamonds. To debit a branching decision, each arrow emanating. So how the flow charts, how do people draw? So first you go for the circle, that is the start. After that you will go for the rectangle, some statement. After that you will go for the some rhombus. If there is a condition, they will go for the rhombus. So from the rhombus again you will go for the some arrow symbols. Where if it is S, you will go like this. If it is no, if you go left side, like this, some arrows will give. Okay. From diamond is labeled solid horizontal lines to indicate the parallel activities. So in order to do the some parallel activities, that parallelly some activities we have to perform, then we use the some solid horizontal lines. Okay, so that is a UML activity diagram represent the actions and decisions. In the use case, what is representing? In use case, it is representing the functions and behavioral of the actor or the system. Here we are taking the, in this diagram it is representing the actions. What are the actions we are performing? What are the decisions we have to take? If it is no, what is the decision we have to take? If it is yes, what is the decision we have to take? Okay, so that occur as some function is performed. So while performing some action, so what is the thing we have to consider? So if the decision is yes, what we have to do? If the decision is no, what we have to do? Okay. So that is the activity diagram. So this is the example for the activity diagram. So see, this is the start button. So in the flow chart diagram, how you give the some circle as a for start. That is the start. So next one is the insert card. So in the use case, what we have to, so for the ATM transactions, what are the transactions do with the ATM? So first we have go for the withdraw or check the balance or deposit money. Those are the things we perform with this system that is given in the use case. But whereas in the activity diagram, it will give the, so what are the actions we perform with the system? What are the actions? So first we will insert the card. When the user interacted with the system, so first he will insert some card, debit card. So after inserting the card, what are the action he will perform, he or she? So enter the password. We will enter the password. So after that, so if the password, here we will given the some condition. If the password is correct, then it will go for the select the type of transaction. If the password is wrong, then it will go for the, again it will ask the enter the password. So, and next, if you select the type of transaction, whether you want to take the cash, withdraw the cash, or whether you select the mini statement, whatever it is. So, it will go for the perform the transaction. So, whatever the type of selection you have done in the transaction will be performed. Again, you will have some condition over here. What is the condition? So if you want to do the more transactions, then again it will go for the loop. Again, or else it will ask them take the card. Okay. So this is the activity diagram. So let us see clearly in the next session. Okay. So by this I conclude this session. So we have seen the requirements for preliminary use case. So what is the use case? What is the preliminary steps we have to take? Why you want to use the use case diagram? So next we have gone for the UML activity diagram. So the activity diagram, what you have seen, we will be clearly seen for the next session. This is for today's session.